Yes, hello. I am James Ronan. Today it's the WNR582. It's NXT Halloween Havoc. Luckily, I'm not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod and honorary House of Torture member. It is, of course, Monty. How's it going, man?
Oh man, I'm excited to be back. Always happy to represent my HOT brethren. You know, so I was spending a little last few pods. I was spending time in the House of Torture. Maybe my mood was a little grouchier because it's an attitude. Like the House of Torture is not just a faction. It's a lifestyle. It's an attitude, and I enjoy healing it up, especially when the girls are around. But I'm gonna try my best. We all talking about my baby, and babies usually get the soft side of me, even though you might get a little bit of House of Torture in me on this show. We'll see, but I'm excited to talk about NXT because always a good time these shows are.
Yeah, and I just found out something fucking incredible. All right. So I don't know what it was. I was just flicking through the phone or whatever it was. And Brooks Jensen, do you know who his dad is, Monty? Because I found it out and I couldn't believe it.
I think I caught remnants of this. Because I think he made a statement or something about the John Cena tournament. Uh, but I don't remember exactly. I think wasn't it that guy who not Rodney Mack, because I think Rodney Mack rapped with Cena too. But it's the whatever big guy, and he no that as a matter of fact he was in Right to Censor, I think too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember
Right.
his name,
So
unfortunately.
I'm like an Attitude Era kid, right? So for me, my first memory of this guy was like with Big Boss Man, and then like you said,
Yeah.
like to Right to Censor. Then when they mentioned John Cena, I was like, oh, I can't believe it's Bill Buchanan. Don't forget he
Yeah.
was in a King of the Ring tournament in 2000. All right, that's the level he got to. To be fair, it might
Uh,
have been tag team champion Godfather. I'm not sure, but again, how did I not know? How or did I just not care? That is a question, isn't it? With these people, it's like,
mm.
do I care enough to find out about their fathers? Because it's obviously I don't.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's always the thing. Maybe you knew at the time and it just didn't matter because a lot of what Bull Buchanan ended up doing in his career didn't really. I'm not gonna say it didn't matter, but he was not the focal point of much of anything. He was always just. I don't want to say he was just a guy, but he was definitely around and like you
Yeah.
said, involved in things, but wasn't ever really the focal point of the thing. So yeah, man, it's one of those situations, but. Yeah, man, that's a nice shout. I mean, it's kind of funny that's because I saw a reference to the tweet, and he was talking about his father, and a lot of people was on in the comments like, who the hell is dad? Who the hell is his dad? So I did remember catching wind of this that he had that was his dad, and I don't know what that says because
No,
like
it's like father like son. It's what it says. It's
yeah, that's
yeah,
what it
that is
feels
he
like.
is the
But
son.
also, WWE makes a big deal about almost everybody. So did they even forget about Bull Buchanan? Like,
Oh my
because they
word.
don't really ever mention it either, or did they just know? Nobody remember that guy. Like, why we don't have to mention that he was second generation for Bull Buchanan because nobody remembers him.
And Steve Rich go, no, he's in part of the biggest wrestling group of all time. Yes, no, I'm sure he was. Yeah, I don't know. So, like I said, for NXT's and of course Havoc, and I've only just noticed Corey's not doing commentary anymore. I'm not sure for how long he has been gone. I assume it's
That's a
since the
good
Brock
point.
Lesnar injury, but I was just like, yeah, he's not there.
Gotta
Like,
be.
I don't know. He just disappeared. You
You
know what
you
it's
just
like.
opened a new world in my head because I forgot he got attacked. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. He's not there. October 21st, and the show opened with a Cullen coming out to the ring. All the focus on Tatum Paxley, since she was the number one contender for the women's title. She was met with "You Deserve It" chants from the crowd and gave a babyface promo about the crowd standing by her side. She was eventually interrupted by JC Jane and Fatal Influence. Jane dished out her usual trash talk and promised to defeat Paxley at the weekend. Izzy Dame tried to step in, but Paxley instead handled it herself. She told Jane she is facing the same doubts the champion faced. She's going to prove everyone wrong by winning the title. A fight broke out, which ended with Fallon Henley barely saving Jane from taking Paxley's finisher. But I like you talk about a lot of things come out. Tate Paxley's been in NXT for 4 years, Monty. You know, like
Wow.
4 years. And I keep thinking she started in NXT UK as well, but I think it's just because she's a good character. That's no shade. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to not really, not gonna say take notice, but it is easy to kind of forget that involvement with her and how long she's been in NXT. Because like, but she's also, I think the character work. She's been in many incarnations. I do remember when she first popped up. That was like in the Ivy Nile days. She was trying to be her friend or whatever. I guess they had in common that they were in shape and like muscular. I remember that version of Tatum Paxton. That didn't last long, and then she kind of
Mm,
went down the rebranding path. But yeah, man, before you know it, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Thea Hill is not that far behind if you really think about it. I mean, yeah, man, those two. I know. We don't like to remember the 2.0 days or a lot of those the phases of NXT that we kind of went through in the last 4 to 5 years. But the time is flying by, so you know. And the funny thing about her is that I think it's almost she's been here a while, but it feels like it's about damn time that they are going to
mm,
kind of give her something or run with her in a sense, if you know what I mean. It's like, uh, because I think me and you have kind of marveled or talked about it even from the Lyra days, and like her involvement with Lyra, we kind of gave her props for being a compelling character, or at the very least being someone who seemed worth investing in, and and I think uh, that's a really good thing to have when we talk when we watch this show and we talk about, especially in the women's division, how many people and how many faces, how many names just blend together and don't necessarily stand out. Like she's always
mm.
been one of those people with great potential athletically, and I think the best part about her is that character work. So yeah, man, 4 years has flown by, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, if you're thinking about it that way, then how long JC James been there too? The JC James got to be going on 5 or 6 at this point. 5. You know what I
25
mean?
years
Like,
she's been in WWE now. It's quite incredible that it doesn't seem like it, but yeah, over 20 years. It's but
exactly.
I'm getting a little tired of WWE opening with a promo. You know, I know they do it, but do it on Raw, do it on SmackDown, don't do it on NXT. I don't think you need to set up the main event later by doing this when it's so easy for NXT to be like, this is the main event next week anyway.
Yeah.
TNA's Leon Slater took a trip to NXT this week to defend the X Division Championship against Channon Stacks Lorenzo, who, if you remember, only got the match thanks to his stepdad. Ariana was ringside with Stacks, and Javon was on commentary. Slater accidentally knocked Grace off the apron when she was trying to help Stacks cheat, but Evans caught her in the arms. Slater scored the win with a 450 splash to retain the X Division title. Afterwards, Evans and Slater said they wanted to team up for a tag match and put an open challenge, which was immediately answered by Mr. Iguana and La Parka. So I guess now, Monty, it's NXT. I can't even do it. NXT NA Triple A. Oh fuck it. I tried it. I'll work on it. NXT
NXT and
NA. Yeah,
TNI.
NXTN Triple A. Well, no.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't have much really to say about this other than, how do you feel about seeing, the WWE obviously, and they would be stupid not to, by the way. Don't get me wrong, but how does it feel to kind of get this, this much involvement from Leon Slater? Like, do you think WWE is trying to put their claws into the kid? I wouldn't be surprised, but the more I see him in Impact, I mean, the more I see him in NXT, the more I'm like, yep, WWE is definitely priming him. They just waiting to see when that Impact deal comes to an end, if it comes to an end. So yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
my takeaway when I see him. Even though I like the kid before he got signed to Impact. So from the sync clips I've seen, so
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it, but I'm just saying that's what I think of.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And again, like I said, mate, set up the tag match for Halloween Havoc, even though it was a little bit strange. Vic did confirm the Heritage Cup was at the bottom of a river. So that's nice to know. The first of two men's speed matches saw TNA's Zachary Wentz take on Jasper Troy, who's about twice the size of Wentz and about an eighth as talented as well. Troy planted him with a black hole slam for the win. The match barely lasted over 2 minutes. It's crazy. Wentz is the only rascal left on NXT now. So,
So
that's all
sorry.
I can think of. I know it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. Again, nothing much to say. Jasper Charles big.
He's big. He's a big man.
He's getting my bomb back there. Thoughts.
Okay. Anyway, Kalani Jordan was shown being kicked out of the locker room because she chose Team TNA. Jordan Grace tried to talk to her about it, but Kalani insulted her instead. Yeah, that's the way to make friends. We returned from a break to see Ava in the ring with Sol, Ruka, and Zarya. Ruka was on crutches. So she was injured in a tag match against Charlotte and Ex Abyss. As a result, she is not cleared to defend her North American title. Blake Monroe came out and said she would happily take the title since the champion is able to defend. But Zarya says she doesn't deserve it enough to step in. Ava left the decision up to Sol, who agreed to let Zarya take her place. Moreau threw a fit. Zarya slammed her to shut her up. And again, there's a couple of things. I mean, at the point, I put, what did we say about this feud? Because I thought the injury was like legitimate. And I'm not so sure now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, injuries do happen, and Sol has had a couple of bad ones already, but it fit into the storyline as well. Maybe it wasn't attended. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, man. I hate that. I hate. I'm starting to. you guys are gonna make me not like Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I feel about that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I get it. It does make a little sense, but it's just like, damn it, man. Every time somebody goes down, we have the potential now of them just of some type of ruse or some type of storyline being built off of injury, and I don't know how much of a fan I am of that. But at the end of the day, though, I'm not gonna complain. I like that it is the way it is. Not that she's hurt, but I like that they kind of have a grounds of where to go. It's not one of them injuries that seem to be that seems that it's going to ruin anything. Like they have more than enough ground storyline wise to kind of keep this thing going in that regard, and I think that's cool. But yeah, man. Other than that, I just wish her, if she really is hurt, I wish her the best. And if she's not hurt, I wish that I really hope we stop this because
Yeah.
like I'm just not into the
Uh, well,
injury faking for no reason.
like you said, last time as well, it just seems like you're setting yourself up for, something does happen now. And like you said, though, since Seth, I don't believe anything. We got
Exactly.
we got a video to hype the Hardys versus Dark Slate. Matt and Jeff turned into broken versions of characters in the Lake of Reincarnation. And again, this was really well done. I don't know if WWE helped or this was TNA production. But again, it was. I think WWE did help a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I watched TNA weekly, and I was like, man, that is a good video. The
Yeah.
second men's speed match of the night saw Sean Legacy take on Axiom. This was a fast-paced and hard-hitting fight. They made the most of every second, much of the time as they could. They didn't have enough time to sell everything properly, but they did a good job. Axiom won with just a couple of seconds left on the clock to advance to the finals, who of course face Troy in the finals next week. And why do they do this to us? When I think about it, I think Fraxim could still be here on NXT giving us bangers. Really, when you really think about it, when you really think about it, and yet, it just makes me sick.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, uh, he obviously they obviously not Triple H obviously don't care about him as a tag team. So what's the point? you
All right.
might as well keep him. Yeah, at least we was getting the occasional insanely like special match on a weekly basis. Now it's just I've never seen this happen, and maybe it happens more than I like to admit in NXT or something. But like I've never seen a shift like one group or one entity leaves, and then the entire division just goes around. It's just like it's barely. I know we got the Hardys and we got things going on, but it's not the same, man. They were really the heartbeat of everything anything good that we've kind of had in this division. They were the heartbeat of that, and here we go.
And to rub salt into the wound more, they had Bait and Dunn dressed as a couple of Mexicans at ringside. So I'm just
Well,
like, what a match we could have,
that,
but instead,
at this point, that is just trying. I think they're just trying to. just twist a knife in your back. Between
It's
Drew
horrible.
and that, honestly, I really think somebody hates you. Man.
Yeah, I know someone's listening. Josh Briggs was shown talking to Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights backstage. He was trying to tell him to stop caring about the fans and focus on themselves. Well, it worked well for him. Ethan Page cosplayed as Thunder Rosa. Hank and Tank were looking for a measure of revenge when they took on Lucian Price and Bronco Nima in OTM's first match on NXT since May, and maybe their last, if I think about it. They made their entrance. Hank and Tank attacked them. Prince and Nima began dominating their opponents. They ended up winning in short and dominant performance. They continued to assault Hank
Yay.
and Tank after it was over and put him through the announce table. Yeah, like you said, way to book your tag team division. Yeah, that's gonna help.
Remember Hank and Tank beat Axe, Fraction, Fraction put those guys over
Mhm.
just for this.
Oh god, I hope it gets better. The
Like,
final match of the night was a tag match between Fatal Influence and the Culling, which was set up earlier. Damon Paxley against Jane and Laney Reed. Jane was able to get the win for a team by pinning Paxley while Reed and Henley attacked Damon at ringside. After it was over, Paxley ended up taking out all three members of Fatal Influence by herself for posing with the NXT title. I mean, matching outfits that was good in this one. I don't think it was a bad match, but it's just getting us there, you know?
yeah, this is a storyline, man. Definitely a storyline. It was solid though. It was back and forth type of offense. But the right ending happened as far as Fatal Influence taking advantage. So I'm not really, I don't really have anything much to say about it. But I do think that they did do a good job of kind of showcasing Paxley as a threat, and also, pointing out what we all kind of know. She's gonna if she was gonna walk out as champion, she's gonna have to overcome the odds. And yeah, so I think
Mm.
again, it did its job. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't anything crazy, but it did its job. And I do think going into Halloween Havoc, Paxley looked legit.
Yeah, without doubt. And the contract signing between Williams and Saints closed the show. Pretty standard contract segment with both men talking trash. I guess Saints had the better half of the exchange, but particularly it broke into a fight and it ended with Williams being put through the table that was there for the signing. I mean, they only had three security tops for four guys, you know, and one was smiling. What a prick, you know? Um, and at this point, Ricky is what he accused Ober of. He's not had to fight to be on top. He's had no journey. Eat that, Ricky. Eat that. I'm Team Trick, Monty, and I'm going to be completely biased. You know, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. You know, I'm like,
Well, at least you admit it. I mean,
yeah.
I actually, I love. Only thing I say about this is that it finally felt like for a change that Ricky was allowed to be, or at least from a speaking perspective, was allowed to be Ricky.
Mm,
And I think that's why the segment that kind of went viral. I did make sure I sent that part to Gina because I figured she'd get a kick out of it. I know she loved Ricky, but not only that, it's just that felt like Ricky Starks. That felt like the attitude and the personality and like and the truth of the matter. Because as much as I love Trick Williams, Ricky has been doing this a long time. I know Trick is. I understand that Trick is. He is who he is in NXT, and deserves to speak with the confidence that he speaks of. Also, but Ricky has definitely earned his right, not even just in WWE, but he's earned his right from the perspective to talk from that perspective that he was talking from. So I did love him speaking with that energy. Now I do understand, like at the end of the day, if you just been watching Ricky and WWE, that's all of that may sound good, but it's just like okay, well just a good promo, but whatever type
mm.
of energy may be applied to it. But from the perspective of just like where I think Ricky really is, that actually for the first time in WWE felt like Ricky, and I just wish that some that's I do think for Ricky's sake and for some talent's sake, I wish they let them lean more into what we all know. Like I get it. I know y'all guys want to act like nobody watches AEW, nobody know anybody. But like when it's that, I mean, look at what's going on with Jade. And I know we're not talking about the main roster, but like that's a perfect example. I've seen people online literally switching tones about how they feel about Jade. And I'm just like, this is literally what she was in AEW.
Mm.
It's not fully
Yeah.
there, but all they're doing is just leaning into who she was in AEW. And wow, now everybody is like, well, see, I see this is money. And I'm like, I wonder who else you could do that with. I mean, just why don't you let Ricky be Ricky? Why don't you let insert name here be, and lean into their strong suits? And then you'll see why people want them to WWE to sign them in the first place. But anyway,
Mhm.
off that high horse, I just thought that promo was good. I'm not picking one. I'm always team Trick, to be honest. I'm
Mhm.
never rooting against Trick, but I'm not picking against Ricky either. Like so.
Yeah. No,
I'm
I
over the
will.
moon. I know, I
You know what I'm
understand
like.
you good. He beat Oba. I get it. You're pissy
Oof.
about it.
Mm.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, James. I know this might come off as harsh. All the listeners out there, I want to let y'all know I have a great appreciation for James. It may come off like I don't, but James, let me be honest with you. You got to stop taking these hard. You got to stop associating yourself hardly with the talent because after what's going on with Drew, I mean, you're putting yourself through a lot here, man.
Yeah, it's not. I'm gonna get on that over train and let's see what happens. Anyway,
Oh
Halloween Havoc
yeah,
then.
Lord, that's such a limb to climb.
Yeah, he's my new favorite now. Halloween Havoc then, October 25th. The kickoff was Mega Morant and Peter Robertsberg. A sit down with All Ego, a sit down with Izzy and Tatum, with Dame taking credit. We had classic Havoc footage. Who can forget Roxanne Perez
Wow.
versus Kiana James? Hey, I mean, come on. Vic, Vic zoomed Leon Slater and Javon Evans. They're both 21. I am so old.
What
And
about
then
Ultimate
the
Warrior and Hulk Hogan? They don't want to. Never mind. Go ahead.
And the main show, we'll talk about being old. I miss props on the set. So it was quite a nice throwback, but I want more. Like give me massive inflatable pumpkin and all that kind of. I mean, you look at the sets back in
Right.
the day, it's just not the same now with the LED fucking LCD screens and bollocks. And Vic was wearing a Riddler's jacket, but it took me ages to work out. Like, I was there and I was going, is that Vic wearing that jacket? I wasn't sure. And then Javon Evans and Leon Slater versus Mr. Iguana and La Parka to start. And Evans and Slater struggled to deal with Layeska throughout this contest. They tried to rally. Yeska rose up the apron like it was Keith Lee. I miss you as well, Keith. While Evans and Slater had trouble matching the chaotic energy of Iguana and Parker, the sheer athleticism won out. The X Division champion won it with a Swanton 450 splash. Monty, what were your thoughts on this opener?
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It was decent. I think I can see what somebody saying it was good because I think because it had a weird build and it was like a lot of cross promotional, and you just putting your fun athletic guys in the ring with some entertaining AAA characters. And I think the goal is to pump the crowd up, get everybody going. And I do think it was something that was kind of funny at times. I can see that they were trying to have fun, and I think sometimes the main roster, in my opinion, is kind of lacking the energy of a match like this because it's just fun. You just watch them and let them do the thing. I was a big fan of the old La Parker back in the day, so watching this version of La Parker do his thing, it was cool. Even though I'm not gonna act like, uh, you know, I'm not gonna compare because it's
Well,
probably not
that
even
wasn't
really fair.
him.
But
That was
right,
that was him, wasn't it? Like, that's the
that's
Parker,
not the
man.
old La Parker. Yeah, it's not the old La Parker. It's not the old La Parker. Trust me, it's a different one.
All right, all right.
It's
If
plenty
you
of
say
it's
so.
too many. That is not the chairman of WCW, La Parker. These are two different people. Anyway,
75, yeah.
yeah. But
Oh.
anyway, that's besides the point. Uh, because it's like it's an LA park. Like, trust me, it's a whole thing. Like, if I just went
Yeah,
into
no, I know what you're
it,
saying. Yeah.
we'll be here for days. It's a whole thing with the park. But anyway, it was still cool to see. And that name always is gonna invoke good memories, whether it was that guy or not. But yeah, Leon and Javon. I mean, come on, man. This was good. It was high flying. It was chaotic. Again, I'm not gonna act like it was like anything too insane. And I do think if you don't really like this style when you see it in general, then you probably wouldn't care for this. But this thing did its job. It got everybody going. Javon and Leon are money. And I think honestly, they're gonna find whatever excuse they can to keep pulling Leon from just doing impact shows. I know they
Mm.
will. And him and Javon just have great chemistry, whether they're fighting against each other or on teams. So I thought this was good. I thought everybody was cool. Mr. Iguana also is Mr. Iguana, and I think he did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
I think he served his purpose very well. But yeah, this was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, like I said, I got no problems with Javon and Leon opening the show again. Start them hot, you know. We talk about how cool La Parker looked as well. Mr. Garner always delivers the matching colours for Javon and Leon, who kind of need a team name. And rather than putting them in dream matchups, you know, against like Fraxium or someone like that, you know, why don't we just say don't split them up? As in, don't have them turn. But they probably will have Javon turn on Leon or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what every tag team in NXT history has done, basically.
I mean, you don't think that Javon and Leon, Hank and Tank, Dark State tag division that don't excite
No, no. What would you score it like out of
you?
five?
Not,
Just
not
start
even
us
a
off.
little bit.
No, I'm moving on. Right, what are we starting with? 5 out of 5.
I give it three and I give it 3 3/4. It was cool.
I'm going to give it 4 1/4 predictions for the WNR Prediction League 2025. This is after Wrestle Dream and Crown Jewel, and of course before Halloween Havoc. So the bonus league, Junior on 13, Jaxie and I on 16, Monty's ahead on 18, WWE Monty on 10, Jaxie Junior on 7, I'm on 5, and AEW Monty on 4, Junior on 3, Jaxie and James on 1. I'll tell you what is quite incredible, and I don't go into much detail, but even when we get here, for you to still be able to be cool is an impressive uh, from Jaxie and Gina, and I won't say it when they're on the show because I don't want to praise them, but for them to keep up with you this year because you have done really, really well, Monty. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I know the foot's come off the gas. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Maybe the past, you know, whatever, but it's still,
Yeah.
yeah, it's still there. Um,
Well, I told you, I just wanted to beat you, and I forgot. I wanted to win a WrestleMania, and I accomplished my goal a while ago. But I'm not trying to. I'm not taking anything away. You're 100% right. Like the fact that it's still going like that, and some of it also is me. Some of it is just me not really watching the same or caring as much because at the beginning of the year I was really dedicated to trying to get everything right as much as I possibly can. But now it's just fun. But yeah, man, who knows? Like I can lose. Like I know. I know AEW is close, so it's like we'll see. I mean, bonus. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I was to fumble something one of these leagues here at the end here or something happens. But it's always the same thing. I shit the bed in these year end predictions, and I feel like they're all going to be horrible. So then I feel like, all right, then I need to do something in these leagues because my year end predictions usually suck. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's all I got. But yeah, I agree. I think the
yeah,
girls, the girls are doing really cool, and you by the hand, you though, you suck this year, and I
no,
don't
I
know
do.
why.
I really,
I don't know why you suck as bad as you do.
yeah,
You are usually way more on top of your game. So I guess maybe you just you allow me to have a really dominant year while you have a bad one. So I like it. We
yeah.
got a little duality, a little bit for everybody, all the listeners out there. You got somebody doing great, and you got somebody doing horrible, like that.
Yeah, I'm going through my 2.0 era. All right, we'll see what happens.
Right.
For prediction to this one, Jackson went for Team AAA. The rest went Slater and Evans. So Jackson on 0, the rest on 1. We got the Day of the Dead North American Championship match, which was Ethan Page versus Hero Del Dr. Wagner Jr. Page and Wagner brutalized each other throughout this match, but things got extra personal after All Ego ripped open the Luchador's mask. The tricks continued from Page, who pulled out the powder to blind his opponent before hitting the twisted grin through the table to get the
Ooh.
win. My interest in V was there was no rules to a Day of the Dead match. It just lights got dimmed. Those are the rules.
Right. I guess so. It's just a no DQ match with nice lighting. It changed the vibe. I guess I'm pretty sure somebody felt like, oh, okay, ooh, we getting a little extra spooky tonight. But it was good, man. This is great. I mean, Ethan is just again at this point, seriously, I don't know if I'm gonna put him on there, but like if I had to for like just man, like I don't know if it's man or wrestler, but like for NXT especially, just for
Mm,
like the work, he probably will never get to the full credit that he deserves. I think even you can attest to this. Every show almost that we do these pay per view reviews, the Ethan Page match is always a highlight, and it
mhm.
really hasn't mattered. I mean, this should explain it to everybody. Like he had a match on one of these NXT reviews that we did with Santino and Morella that ended up being fun. And I'm not trying to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
Santino
yeah,
is bad, but I'm just saying Santino is what he is. He always kind of been what he is as far as a wrestler. And Ethan Page has found a way to make that work and be able to do this high impact, hardcore style, like the twisted grin through the table, like you mentioned, it was just insanely good. They gave them time to just kind of go out there and do their thing to the point where I think I always kind of had a respect for Ethan. We know me and you talk about it again, like I said, weekly at this point when we do these shows. That how good Ethan Page has been, and I've heard people say Ethan Page is an average wrestler, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. If that's average, then I think
yeah,
everybody, you know what I mean? Like we need a
yeah,
roster
yeah.
full of Ethan Pages then, if that's the case, because in my opinion, he's definitely deserved mention. Not saying he is the best or but like he's not one of those guys that again, I don't think you're watching enough NXT if you don't think Ethan Page is one of the better wrestlers in the world right now. And this had me looking at Wagner differently. It made me looking at like not differently because I always heard of Wagner, but getting a chance to watch him in this setting in a match with some stakes, and they kind of brought some intensity to it too. Even though I didn't necessarily think the stipulation was anything different than just like we mentioned, just a regular, no DQ type of match, I still thought this was really good, and both guys look great. But again, I can't say enough about how good Ethan Page really is right now.
Yeah, no, I think I mean I can't really add to the Ethan Page thing because I'll just be saying what you said, and I think it's an
Man,
excellent shout as well. Like I said, it's a shame we don't do best wrestlers from different promotions, but Ethan Page, yeah, is head and shoulders above a lot. And again, even this matchup, like I said, what I mentioned from the mask on, because at that point up until the mask kind of ripping in, I was like, oh, okay, it's just standard. And it seems he takes it up another level. I don't know because of just the pure dislike or whatever it is, but again, the blood and the face paint looks so good on all ego. But it looked like it might have been caused in the stairs, much like Jade. So you mentioned Cargo earlier, and she suffered a horrible one. Maybe just rethink
yeah,
it. If the stairs are that fucking rough, do you know what I mean? And you're not going to put your hands up, just don't do it. I don't know. But yeah, this is just
yeah,
good stuff. A lot of our spaced offense from AAA talent as well. But again, I'm getting
yeah,
used to it now with like New Japan. Like it's only really American that have we moved away from that homoerotic type. Do you know what I mean? I've got no problem with it.
yeah,
There's no. I say
yeah,
homoerotic. I
yeah.
didn't mean it erotic, but you know what I mean.
And the crazy thing is, it's not. It's just
It's just
not very American apparently to use your
just use your ass as a
so,
weapon. Just think
only
Taguchi and
Naomi.
Dynamite, and just have him.
Yeah, just go to Gucci, man. Like, come on, man.
I
Taguchi's
know.
great. I remember when I first discovered Taguchi, and like, of course, I found out years later that's what, of course, that's where Naomi got the rear end from. Just watching a Taguchi match way back in the day, and she was like, "Oh, she's like she's gonna use, it's her most complimented asset, so that's why it became her finisher." So I was just like,
Oh,
"Yes, that's genius." And then I'm like, and then I watched Taguchi, and he found a way to just make it all work. It's just like you can do different ways of using the hip attack slash. It's
mm.
just it's genius, man. And that's all I'm saying. It's just like I'm with you. I don't know why, and I do think Sam Homoerotic is probably accurate because maybe that's part of the reason why is avoided so much in like American style wrestling or like over here Western style wrestling. But yeah, man, it's cool and it works. And like I get it. Some people have, maybe we got a long ways to go in a lot of areas when it comes to just letting things be what it is. Even in a place like wrestling, which come on, man, you're watching wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't get. Even when we
Like
talk
half
about
naked.
comedy and wrestling, do you know what I
Like,
mean?
come on,
And it's
dude.
oiled up guys. You know what I mean? Rugby.
In their
It's like
underwear.
how do you not? How do you see it as like a kind of non? Yeah, I don't get it. I
I
don't.
don't
But then
get it. I
again,
don't get
I
it.
guess
I don't get it in general, to be honest. So
that people just think it's a butch sport. Do you know, with
Right.
fancy entrances like, like the
Like, come on, man.
robes
Like, be
and the
serious, be for real.
fireworks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? But yeah, man, no, I'm with you though. That's I always chuckle because you always pull something out of these matches that I don't think twice about. But that's a good shout because it is a lot of ass offense.
Yeah, and it's not like Taguchi likes it, guys. If people listening, it's like he's not a huge fan of it. Do you know what I mean? But he has to use it. But anyway, as for the matchup, yeah, this was really good. What were you going to give it?
Yeah, man, I gave it 4 1/4. This is top notch stuff to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. 4 1/4. Jaxie went for Dr. Wagner. The rest went all ego, so Jaxie's
Jackson
on
was very
0.
triple A heavy.
She just fucking hates TNA as well. She hates anything associated with. Oh, you watch NXT and TNA? I'm gonna go all AAA wrestlers then. That's what she does. Jordan Grace, who was dressed like Velma, and Kalani Jordan talked to the Knockouts champion locker room. Grace wanted a shot at the
Respectfully,
title.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Gresham. That's all I'm gonna say. Respectfully.
unbelievable. Grace wanted a shot at the title and slapped the champion. In Ava's office, Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights argued who would fight Josh Briggs next, and Ava decided they should just fight each other instead. All right. Then we got the Women's North American Championship. Zaria versus with Sol Ruka versus Blake Monroe. And Monroe attacked Zaria immediately at the bell, going right at the left elbow, which was a target all match. Sol helped Ruka reset the shoulder outside by pushing her into the ring post in a cool spot. Monroe pulled out the hairpin that helped her beat Zaria the first time, which again is a different update for us, which helps, but it's only 2 weeks in real time. Zaria caught her with a spear for a near fall, while Sol stood in Zaria's corner as support. She was actually a distraction when it mattered the most. The Glamour knocked down Sol's
Of
crutch
course.
and then threw her to her friend who checked on her. This set up 2 Glamour shots out of the ring and inside. And your new NXT North American Women's Champion is Blake Monroe. Thoughts on this, Monty? And like you said, you think how great Blake is now. Isn't it amazing? They book her like this, and all of a sudden, it's like,
Wow.
wow,
Who would have thunk
she's
it, bro?
she's got something. She's got
Yeah, who would have thunk it if you just book her, like the sociopathic, you know, beauty queen she can be. You know what I mean? Like who would have thought that would? I can only imagine the money that can print if you if you do that. But yeah, no, she's doing great. Not she's definitely shining in this like manipulative, like kind of. It's a jealous, but it's also she's very weird. She plays the role like seeming jealous or feeling like it coming from a jealous place, but at the same time, she feels like she's better than Zarya, especially Zarya, but even like, but also kind of turning it into like a I'm getting in between their relationship type of energy when it comes to like we all kind of know the unspoken, chemistry that they kind of tried to play off with Zarya, and so and I think based off the same thing that she kind of had going on with Tony Storm, she's wiggled her character perfectly into that. So I think again, it's been smart to kind of lean into that vibe that we already kind of know that she has, and I think it's working for her. But in my opinion, and this is just me, and again, I'm not saying we need to do it because my whole thing is that if you're gonna do it and go full throttle. And if you're not gonna do it, then let's pull the reins back and like really explore this. I'm gonna be honest with you. Zarya to me is as solid as I think she is and as dominant as I think she can be. Her relationship with Saul Ruger has been nothing but mostly of a I don't want to say a hassle, but it has been not beneficial to her. And I know maybe that it's gonna take a while for us to get here, but it's like I almost just wish they would go ahead and just in storyline book them as a couple. Because then I can at least understand
mm,
how how far gone Zarya seems to be sometimes. Because this is just something that we've seen before on how it just always seemed to work out. And I get it. You don't have to go that far to tell this story. But at the same time, sometimes you're looking at you. It's hard for me to kind of not look at it that way, and then look at what some of the stuff Zarya do and how she ends up always suffering in this regard, to where it's just like it's hard to just be sympathetic to somebody. Or this just your friend, and you always getting the short end of the stick like this. And I think I knew it was going to kind of play out like that because of again the injury, and we kind of maybe maybe this whole entire time whether Zarya was the main wrestler, maybe it goes reverse if Soul doesn't get injured or whatever, and like
Mm.
Zarya ends up distracting Soul, and then we can play a little bit more of an interesting game. But when it's Zarya again, it's just starting to be obvious that she is not helping you prosper for yourself. And again, I get it. Maybe I look at wrestling too selfishly. Maybe that's the story here. Zarya should put her pride to the side for Soul Rooker here. But yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. But either way it goes, the match itself, I thought was okay. Honestly, I think the funniest thing about it, I'm gonna say this, Jay, and I'm gonna see what you think. I saw somebody say that honestly, if you're going off the canon, Zarya at this point gotta be brain damaged.
Honestly, I was gonna call her a fucking idiot because it's horrible to see, and it looks like now it's gonna be Soul who's gonna blame her for losing the titles, and maybe we're getting into it there. But it seems like they just I don't know what they want to do with Zara because when she came in, I thought she's gonna be like the next monster, and they've just turned her
Yeah.
into like you said just an idiot. Yeah, we thought it was gonna be like Frankenstein's monster. It ended up like fucking. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's
I don't know, man.
insane. It's insane, man. And that's all I'm trying to say. It's like the longer this goes on, the worse she starts to look. And again, I'm not trying to say we need to go into the turn them into lesbian characters or whatever, but like that's probably the only way you can justify some of the stuff she does.
Mm.
Because
And
it's
it's
just
been
like, what are we
yeah,
doing?
it's been 6 months. We've had this discussion before on an update. Do you know what I mean? Like literally,
Hey,
it's kind of like when are they gonna do so? Or, do you know what I mean? It just seems every week it's just they cost each other, and it's like okay, we'll just move on to the next fucker.
oh
I
well,
don't
they like each other, so we just keep it going. It's like, what?
know.
Like at
Uh,
some point, and again, I'm with you. Now it's gonna turn. And now it seems obvious that the turn will be the opposite way instead of the dominant monster attacking, sympathetic soul. But I get it because how can you can't make Soul look like the one who needs to be like if in it you gotta go the route of feeling sorry for Zarya. But again, the longer this is went, the less I'm sorry I feel to where it's just like, well, here we go.
And
But anyway,
We know NXT rules that with the heel turn, you win your first few, didn't you? And then you'll lose every other one afterwards. But there you go. Again, that's not good for Zara, is it? Because what happens then? Fair play to
exactly.
Blake Monroe, because as you mentioned, all these like AW going like, well, they've done nothing with Ricky, they've done nothing with Blake, they've done nothing with Jade. They've just turned on, WWE and gone, oh fuck, they're all champions now. All right, okay, like so. And I suppose the other half will be going, well, look how good they are. So. But I think Blake Monroe is a little bit like I said, they all come different ways, haven't they? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But maybe Blake will go from North American to NXT Women's Champion or might get called up. Apart from
Yeah.
that, yeah, not much to add really. I mean, what would you give out of five?
I'll give it 3.5. It was okay, but also the dislocation stuff spot. Hey man, again, out. Come on, man. Let's find something else. Can we stop the Can we stop the phony injury stuff? Let's
Triple
close
H and
out on
Sean are just like, but they need injuries. Faces need injuries. Is it ribs? If
that.
it's not ribs taped, then it needs to be a shoulder
Right.
dislocation, separation,
Like,
or I
and
don't
you know
know.
what? Now you're giving me a flashback to Sean just came back matches with Triple H. Plenty of
Oh
times they
god.
both had tape ribs, so maybe that's what it is. They're just flashing back to those days. But god damn it, man! But go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, predictions we went. Blake so Jaxie gets her first point. She's on one. The rest are on three. The NXT Women's Championship was next. JC Jane versus Tatum Paxley. Early on, the Cullen was useless in protecting Paxley from the attacks of Fatal Influence. Spears made the save when he got Paxley's leg on the rope after an avalanche net breaker. And that started a brawl between the Culling and Fatal Influence, and the official threw out everybody. Paxley took it all with a rolling encore, followed by a 450 splash, followed by a close 2 count. There was a dramatic back and forth with both groups returned, and Izzy Dame distracted Jane to allow Paxley to hit the Psycho Trap for the victory, and your new NXT Women's Champion, Tatum Paxley. And I got to say, Monty, I was pleasantly surprised with this.
Man, me too. Like again, this is one of those things, and I'm not being disingenuous whenever I say this. Whenever I predict something another way and it don't go that way, and it goes this way. Even like for example, a similar thing was Chris Statlander in the Fatal 4-Way. Like I thought Tony would retain, but then getting Chris to get that victory again, I thought overall, even though I didn't see it coming, it's one of those surprises where it's like, you know what, good shit. And the same thing goes here because honestly, I think JC, I think you mentioned this too. You actually were saying it for like the Impact title, but like in general, you had kind of mentioned that we were probably at some point getting closer to the end of the JC Jane experience than we were as far as her continuing being on this run. And I think honestly, she's done what she's doing. Unless, and I think I suggested this the other time. Unless you're going to give this belt to like a Fallon Henley on some the group finally tired of being treated like garbage, type of energy or something, then I didn't know exactly where you go. But you get a character not out of nowhere because again, I think we all can see the potential for Tatum. We know she can be a huge star, and I think her getting her to achieve this moment the way she did, I thought this was cool, man. I thought honestly too, they beat the hell out of each other and actually had a really good match. Like to me, I'm not trying to say I thought Tatum. I'm not saying we were underrating the Tatum Paxley, but I just think shame on Sean for having so much going on and so many women to focus on that somebody like Tatum wasn't allowed to showcase some of this consistently. Because I think we all knew she had the potential and we seen flashes of her being as good as she was in this match, but I thought this was one of her best showings, and I think that's exactly what you want. That's what you want. You want on your big moment, your title match, to show off some of your best work, and I really think they did well. And I even think Jay-Z did uh, really good in this match too. The intensity towards the end. Even the rolling elbow and stuff like that, and like just I think the 450. Come on, man. I mean, again, the 450, insane. I mean, again, she's so I don't want to say sneaky athletic. I just don't think because she hasn't been showcased. And hopefully that's about to change. But she hasn't been showcased consistently. But I think the athleticism that she shows really, really, really is really, really slept on. I think now as champion, she'll get a chance to kind of showcase more of that, depending on how long they decide to run with this. But like I said, we talked about her character work in the past, but I think now we have a chance to really have her in this spot as champion. And I think also when you think about how much we've seen of her and how cool she was during the whole Lyra thing, I never forget that promo of kind of like her that promo they gave her, kind of explaining of her obsession over the championship, not being necessarily obsessed with just Lyra. And it was just, they kind of went away from that as she went babyface. But I do think that it's kind of cool when I think about the evolution of her now to be at champion. And I don't know if this was always the long term plan, and that's why you go with a JC Jane and get us here. But either way it go, I do think this is really, really cool, and I'm excited to see what they do. But this match was really good. I was really impressed by both ladies, and I think uh, I don't know exactly what's going to come. I think obviously the Izzy Dame relationship is going to be tested. I think we'll finally see truly where that's going. I think we all kind of could see where that's heading. But I'm excited for Tatum because I do think this is one of the situations. I know we were. This is the opposite almost of the JC Jane. And no offense
Mm.
to her because I think she ended up being a solid champion. But we were all shocked by JC and just didn't understand where that came from. I think this one we're shocked, but this is like you said, very pleasant, very good feeling shockness from
Yeah.
this one. So I really love that she's champion now.
Yeah, as long as she doesn't drop it back to Jane in a couple of weeks. But we should say credit to
Yeah,
JC and her title run. It was interesting not to give it to Lola in her hometown and give it to Tatum here. But as you mentioned,
yeah,
though, with Tatum, it's weird because you thought her character was stronger than her in ring, and then the performance like this, you go, yeah, why hasn't she wrestled more consistently over 4 years? And another thing I found quite funny, Fatal Influence is now weaker and less successful with a new member, which is always a good thing, isn't it? Like that's how you want to do it, I suppose. Um, and the last thing, and this is, I mean, having packs with blood everywhere shocked me a little bit because I don't know in the US you have Tampax, but we do, and to see that is a bit jarring. But I got over it. I got over it, and the crowd loved it as well. I'm not gonna lie. So Monty, what would you give it?
yeah, man. This is really cool. I think I gave it a 4.25 also.
Yeah, I'll give it 4.5. It's interesting that title change wasn't the main event, but who knows what else was going to happen. Predictions, we went JC, so all on nothing. So Jax is on one, the rest are on three. And the Broken Rules NXT Tag Team Championship match was next. The Broken Hardys versus Dark State. Well, of course, we had Broken Matt Hardy and brother Nero, and they competed in their most broken form for the first time in WWE, and they're willing to take on all four members of Dark State because they're fucking idiots. Jeff and Matt took out Cutler and Sugars with a swanton bomb and a diving leg drop through a ringside tables. Lennox and Griffin hit Jeff and Matt with a 3D for a near fall. And Ronald and now retired Dudley's. Lennox flew over the barricade onto Matt, followed by Griffin spearing Jeff through the barricade. Jeff went for a swanton bomb off a high ladder, but Griffin ducked and let him fall through two tables at ringside. And even after taking out Sugars and James, this match turned the wrong way for the Hardys. It went down to a ladder assisted doomsday device through a table on Jeff to seal the win. I thought this was interesting. I'm not going to lie. I thought this was an interesting match.
By far, Dark State's best showing. And I don't know that I don't know I don't know necessarily if that holds a lot of weight, but like by far the best showing of the Dark State. I mean, like I said, the Hardys are idiots. They are fighting for two. But yeah, man. Honestly, at first I was like, oh man, this might be messy, and it was still a little messy. But honestly, man, I thought it really did a good job. After a while, it kind of just turned into some very fun action and something that you're not used to seeing. And I think I always got to give them points for doing something a little bit different. Like this is something that, in my opinion, I don't think you not just because of the Hardys or whatever. I just don't think you're gonna get something like this on the main roster. And I think that's something that they can put as like a feather in their cap for whatever, however you feel about that. But I do think again, like you said, definitely one of those matches that at first I didn't think much of it. I didn't think I was going to care about it, and maybe that's part of why I ended up enjoying it so much because I do agree with you. It ended up being very interesting towards as it went on and as the match started to kind of break down. And I'm always say this because it seems like every time he has a match with Louders in it, these people just forget Jeff's age, and they continue to ask him. I don't know why he has to do this consistently, but at the end of the day, though, I mean, come on, broken rules match. Yes, Jeff is gonna fall through something. So,
But this was the most kind of TNA type match on the whole card because, like I said, the booking of the four people in the ring against the two that didn't make sense,
yeah,
all the table bumps, and ladder stuff, and everything like that. The Hardys' first WPLE since 2017, only 17 days as NXT Tag Champions. So this was obviously just for them to say they had it. Not a good look for me, really. But and I don't care if the veterans beat the youngsters. Sometimes you need to earn that victory, much like the Demon character. I think the broken character maybe should be protected. And you mentioned Jeff. He hasn't got long left. I hope he gets a proper send off. I mean, they should just be in the Hall of Fame. Like, just put him in, and then Jeff doesn't have to
well, you know
dive off
what?
massive fucking ladders.
Can you tell me what the hell taking so long on it? Like, I don't care how. I mean, Ray's technically still active. Like, I mean, we know Adams come out of retirement. I mean, Brian Danielson. Well, I don't know. It's funny about Brian Danielson. I think he deserves a gig, but they might make Brian Ray forever. Now that I think about it,
Mm,
as far as getting in, even though I think his run is unprecedented, even in WWE. I know a lot of people like to separate him from that, but yeah, man, I
yeah.
don't know. The Hardys are definitely the people who should, no matter if they're still going, should already be in. So I don't know why the hell we
Maybe
waited so damn
maybe
long.
it's a problem of like Hardys versus Redacted, versus the Dudleys at WrestleMania and their feud with Redacted. With
That's
you
so
know what I
stupid, but
mean?
I
Like,
understand.
I don't, you know what I mean? They can't show
I
highlights
get it.
because of something. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's the kind of thing. It's like when they don't give Jim Ross his props. That pisses me off because there is
Right.
no need for it. All right, come on now. Like I understand
Yeah.
current wrestlers, but when it's Hall of Famers and stuff, or people who are shall we say, past the prime. I'm not saying everybody in. I'm going to move on quickly. Afterwards, Evans State agreed to take the NXT Tag Team Championships from Dark State to get them back for their Bound for Glory sneak attack. So I guess that's good. But we could have just had Slater and Evans versus the Hardys, which kind of would have been better. Anyway, out of 5 for this one.
I gave it a 4. Again, I think that was the most fun I've ever had watching a Dark State match. So do with that what you will.
No, I gave it a 4 and a quarter. I think you're bang on. I think Dark Slate looked good here, and prediction. And this is what the Hardys have done well in TNA. Like I said, they can't maybe
Yeah.
move the way they were, but they get that reaction from the crowd, and they still. I mean, Matt looks so much better than Jeff, and that's probably not a surprise. Like I said, if we've watched the
Yeah.
Hardys,
That
but
makes sense.
again, yeah, not that I'm saying Matt moves around the ring like fucking, but again, this is what the
Right.
Hardys do. So, yeah, God bless them for trying. So we all went Hardy. So Jackson won, the rest on 3. The main event was the NXT Championship. Ricky Saints, boo, versus Trick Williams. Yeah, whoop that Trick. Trick jumped at Saints immediately at the bell. Hollywood repeatedly tried to send the absolute one through the announce table. Finally landed a bookend through it, followed by a Trick shot for a dramatic near fall. Trick thought he threw Saints out of the ring. He threw Saints out of the ring and hit his signature pose, only to get blasted with a clothesline. Saints proved himself as NXT champion throughout this fight, taking Trick's best shots and winning after a spear and a tornado DDT. After Saints celebration, the camera went to the back where the Culling celebrated, and Tatum Paxley promised even more crazy in NXT starting on Tuesday, which makes me think, why not just have Tatum Paxley main event the fucking show? But anyway, we're going to talk about Trick versus Ricky. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I come away with your own conclusion, even though I thought him and Trick was okay. I thought the Trick match was okay. But yeah, man, I kind of came away with that because I guess maybe it's also because the decision making of that title change plus having Tatum kind of end it off to signify like this is her division now. The energy, maybe that would have made it a lot in the show a lot special, making it a lot more special. But at the same time, I do understand, because of the magnitude of the match that they were trying to build towards. And I understand why they would want to have Trick and Ricky finish it off. But this was okay. I don't think it was like again an insane match. I'm not gonna act like it was bad. I did see some people complaining that that it was like kind of simple, but we kind of know the WWE main event format, in my opinion. But I did like it. It was 15 minutes, so just like solid stuff, but it wasn't anything. I think for the magnitude of what we were talking about here, they kind of
Mm,
played it safe for the type of match, and I think that might be another reason why it probably would have felt a little bit better if we ended the show with Tatum, because I felt like more or less felt like they weren't really going like this. Felt I thought the storyline called for like a personal blowout match, blow off match. But this didn't feel like it, and what do you know? This isn't over. So yeah,
mm.
so it was good, but you could tell they were kind of saving how far they were going to go, which kind of surprised me when you think about PLE main event. But it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We expected an NXT PLE to be the best thing on the show, and it wasn't. And my notes for this actually don't mention the matchup. Talk about the promo video, which was excellent, looking like they were in different
Yeah,
places but sitting next to each other. Like I said, come with the Hardys of great videos being put together. And the other thing I want to talk about is the North American title to NXT Championship, which used to be the case for the Intercontinental and the WWE, but in my mind, the North American champion then to NXT, we had obviously Carmella Hayes, Trick Williams, Obafemi, and now Ricky Saints, which is not a bad list, Monty, is it?
yeah. I mean, no, it's not. It's not horrible. I mean, I still think North American lineage is pretty, especially if you think about the actual runs. I think the problem with the world title, or like, I don't mind it. And you know what? The funny thing is, sometimes this happened on the main roster with the Intercontinental / World Championship. That you come off these great defenses or a nice, memorable IC run or a North American title run in this case, and then you get to the world title, and outside of Obafemi, of course, and I think even Mello kind of carried it through, But Trick, I mentioned multiple times that I felt like, Trick didn't even really have a long North American title run. But even with that, the opponents that he had as world champion and the booking, it's just not always consistent once they get to that top
Mm.
billing spot. But I do think it is a nice little notice of the pipeline, in so to speak, is the best way to kind of describe it. I always think of Keith Lee when he was holding both belts up.
Hmm.
So yeah, it definitely is a nice little history and lineage there. But I do think most of the time the North American title run end up being the more entertaining run, so to speak. But I don't know, man. This was okay, but uh, I do think even with Ricky inserted here to the main event, we talked about it before, and we can talk about it as we go on to the next few episodes. But the main event scene for the men, it's just still feel like it's been missing something for a while now. And I don't
Mm.
know exactly what or why, but it's just been like that for a while.
Yeah, without doubt. All right, so what would you give the main event out of five?
I give it 3 3/4.
I'm going to give it a four. Predictions. Well, the final scores, we all went for Ricky. So Jaxie's on two, James, Monty, and Gina on four. So the prediction leagues now after Wrestle Dream, the bonus league is Gina on 14, Jaxie on 16, I'm on 17, Monty on 19. So Gina can still conceivably catch all of us still. I'm 2 points behind Monty, just a point ahead of Jaxie, but it's all to play for. And like we said, Tatum should have main evented, or something Halloween based. I think that was missing. Overall thoughts about the
Yeah.
show. There wasn't enough kind of Halloween stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't
Well,
know.
they fired all our Halloween inspired golf chicks when it comes to Scarlet and hell, Gigi Dolan, like everybody who had like a little golf personality, they kind of got rid of. So
I don't
there you
know.
go with that. And Dexter's busy doing his. I mean, hell, just let the Y6 come down for a night and just scare, like screw with people. I don't know.
I
Maybe they
just
don't want
with
to. They don't.
yeah.
Maybe they don't want to be horror themed. But yeah, man, I do agree. Or like even like the pre-tapes. Use some of the Hank. Use You got plenty of guys back there doing nothing. Use the idiots from Chase U and let them go do some stupid backstage and get haunted by something. Why not?
Well, yeah, exactly. Hank and Tank's haunted house. That's it. Simple as
Yeah.
that. Could have done that with all the reactions. And we talk about NXT. I mean, is this kind of one of the bigger NXT shows, or should it be? I mean, I guess I count Deadline, Vengeance Day, Stand and Deliver as this.
I
And
think
the
this
question,
is.
gone.
You go ahead.
No, I was about to say, did
No,
it
no.
deliver? Like, I mean, do we
Okay,
count it as a
yeah.
big
I
event?
mean,
And what was your score?
this is a good show. I don't know about. I do think a lot of the PLE for NXT for a while now have kind of. I don't want to say they've been stagnant, but I think because we feel like we're getting so many now, or we're getting like a special NXT episode every 2 weeks now. It feels like some of the specialness that has kind of faded away on some of this, but I do think this show was good. I do think we did get some tangible moments here. I do think we can look back and on this era and look back at like the crowning of Tatum Paxton. Look back at Mariah, or Blake getting her shine, and I think you kind of look back at that favorably, and I do think it ended up being a good show. But was it like a really special feeling PLE, so to speak, or even a great on a classic takeover standard status? No, I don't think it was that, but I do think it was a good show. And I do think overall, I look at Halloween Havoc as one of those uh, essential NXT POVs, like you said, maybe next to the Vengeance Days and the Great American Bash type of energy that they come to do year round now. So yeah, Halloween Havoc is one of those shows that I kind of look forward to, but this was kind of tame, like you mentioned, for a lot of reasons that we just talked about. Whether it was because of the lack of just like keeping the Halloween theme going, and doing things besides just the matches, or if it was the fact that some of the matches just felt like solid NXT matches and not, PLE takeover worthy type of matches. But in my opinion, I feel like since we're getting so many of them now, it's really tough to always have that energy that you probably want
Mm.
because we're just getting so many of them at this point.
Yeah, I'm still going to give it 8 3/4 because I'm biased because A, it's NXT, and B, I really do love this time of year as well. So I'm going to 8 3/4. My match of the night will be Jane versus Paxley. An MVP, well, again, I'm going to take words out of your mouth, but I'll go Blake Monroe because she did win the championship, but I think it deserves someone else as well. So, Monty, who's your MVP and what's your score out of 10? Because I think your match was. Like I said, Tatum and Jane as well.
Yeah. Again, Ethan Page deserve honorable mention, but yeah, I'm going with Tatum Paxton. She definitely, in my opinion, showcased again some things I've seen flashes of, but this felt like something she really can build off of if she has the right chemistry with the opponent. And I think her and JC did really well here. And I'm really excited for her, and I really thought she shined on this show. So this is really a really big moment for her, and she walked out as champion. She walked out as MVP for me. And I think overall, I give it an 8 and a quarter maybe. Not saying it wasn't good. I do think it was a solid to really good show. But I don't necessarily want to act like it was. I've seen them do a much better executed type of show like this before, and that's kind of what I'm kind of holding them up to. But I thought this was okay overall. It was a really good show.
Yeah, without doubt. All right, so we move on. And I found out a crazy stat, right? So we all know Stephanie Vacquer had become the women's champion. And of course, she was a former NXT champion, Monty. But who was the last man to hold the NXT title and then win a world title?
Man, last man to hold the NXT World Championship and then hold the World Championship.
Hmm. Okay, honestly, like I said,
Man,
I couldn't believe it. Blew my mind when it was like the women's division is so far ahead of the men's right now.
I know it's been a while. I don't want. Is it Fiend? Is it Big E? But like Big E, I don't know. I don't want to say Big E.
It
But
was,
I'm trying to think. Is am I missing somebody?
yeah, come on, you know. Come on, you're talking to me, you should know.
Oh, Drew.
Yeah, Drew
Yeah,
McIntyre was the
Drew.
last man
Yeah.
to do
'Cause
it.
I always forget he's NXT champion, and then like he got screwed. Yeah. Because of
Yeah,
course Drew
yeah.
got screwed.
Yeah, he did. He would have, on the night of his title win, Adam Cole made his debut and overshadowed him.
Right. That's
So I
why I
think from that,
forgot.
that moment on,
I'm thinking about the undisputed era. Of course. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
of course, that should
So
change
good.
with Bron Breakker soon. I guess. I mean,
Um,
we just,
I hope.
but yeah, I mean, he's probably our
It,
best
it
bet, you
should
know.
make it to over before Braun, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
assuming I'm assuming Braun will be first.
yeah. Anyway, October 28th, NXT is my birthday edition, but they didn't bill it as such, which kind of annoyed me a little bit, but I'll go over it. After highlights of Havoc, we, for some reason, the Ava disagreed, and Ricky brawled. We keep getting Trick down in NXT for this. So Trick attacked Ricky to start us off. It said attacked the truck, and I was like, I don't think he did, but that is all correct anyway. First bit of action was the men's speed final, only 3 minutes, but just enough for Jasper Troy to beat Axiom. He will face El Grande now. Interestingly, I mean, I miss Axiom the way things are going. I wish them well in their future endeavors because because again, it's like that's next, isn't it? Like they can't put a mask on Axiom. They can't make him another Mexican wrestler, can they? That would just be crazy. Um, Anyway, Soul's got a brace but no crutch apart from Azaria. She's giving up the title and Azaria wants to lose it for her, apparently. After the break, the culling make its way to the ring to celebrate Paxley winning the title. The crowd gave her a very warm welcome and chanted her name. She talked about how long she's been dreaming about this moment. She said she wants to be able to give everyone an opportunity to fight for the title. But Izzy Dame interrupted and said it was a bad idea to offer a shot to anybody who wanted it. She put everyone's name on the Halloween Havoc wheel. Yes, the wheel is back, and it landed on Lola Vice. Sean Spears pointed out that Dame's name was not on the wheel. She did not look happy about it. I mean, can't we just have like 1 week of women not trying to betray each other? Do you know what I mean? I did think it was Tatum funny forgetting the name, but she did have a good reason, you know.
Yeah, man, we you know what's coming, James. Don't even you know what's coming. Yeah, I'm with you, but like I'm not putting it past them. If it's one thing that's very WWE, it is betrayal. They are going. It's going to happen. And again, I don't know, but yeah, it was good to see the wheel. I love that. I love the concept of Tatum being this fighting champion and like easy. Rightfully, she is right. Like you don't need to do this. It's not really the smart way to go about this. Is what which is true, but at the same time, the innocence there of like, oh, you're my friend. Just like, okay, yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. I've watched this movie before, but no, I will say though, I am that this was a very entertaining segment for the culling, and I also thought this is very interesting because of what you mentioned earlier, James, about how you know it's very interesting that they kind of that Lola didn't win her title match, but obviously, Tatum was able to win, and then who's the first person that you looked Tatum to kind of legitimize it? Oh, so yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, I thought this was fine. Fine, nice, fine little segment to kind of explain the dynamics of our new champion going forward, which I don't mind.
Well, speaking of the women's championship, the Evolve women's title was on the line when Kendall Gray defended against Lash Legend, but the champion didn't come along. She had Ren Sinclair in her corner. Sinclair helped give Gray some motivation. She hit a finisher for the win after Legend missed a running boot. I honestly thought Gray was a new member of Fatal Influence until Ren arrived, and I was like, oh, it's not her then. And at this point, I put Lash must be making her way up, which she did. So that was the end of
That was
Lash
good.
Legend NXT. I mean, she's got more potential on the main roster, hasn't she now? like,
I
so,
mean,
I
you can
mean,
already see it.
hmm.
Like just in a few weeks, you can already, in my opinion, she's already kind of making setting a tone for herself and for like the potential. We know she can talk. We know she can carry herself. So it's just like now it's about showcasing more of what she can do. And I do think so far on the main roster they're giving her the spotlight. But when this happened, I was just like, well, damn, man, she's never going to get any upward mobility in NXT. But look, she gets the ultimate upward mobility now. So.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm good with that. If that was the plan, put over a young Kendall Gray, who, by the way, I've always kind of heard solid to pretty good things about Kendall. So hopefully, I don't know. They really need to get it together though. The way they do these, and I'm not opposed to Evolve. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Evolve. I'm not opposed to them. Do your thing. I get it. It's just on a weekly basis for me. Like so, let me tell you, realistically, WWE or NXT wants me to keep up with AAA,
Mm-hmm.
Impact,
Mm-hmm.
Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
LFG.
even have
LFG.
time. Yeah, maybe even have time to watch the stupid reality show. Yeah, exactly. Like what the? Like, come on, dog. Like
And also
what?
Raw and SmackDown because NXT talent might pop up there.
Think about it, man. Like what? Who do you think I am, or any of these people are? Like, and again, maybe if you're a child, you still a kid, and I know the target audience a lot of times in wrestling can still be children that you have. But how much screen time do you think the kid even has at this point when you think about keeping up with absolutely everything. But yeah, I mean,
What-
this is fine for what it was, but I just think that's ridiculous to me that I got that they expect me to know a little bit about everything when it comes to all of these people who pop up in
yeah.
NXT.
Well, no, the thing is, you say that my 5-year-old niece hated watching Blood and Guts for me the other day. I don't know what the problem was. Like, she's some wrestling, all was crying about Sky Blue. What are you talking about?
What is
Anyway,
wrong with you, Jay? Why would you show that?
well, it's wrestling for kids, isn't it? Anyway, Chelsea Green was backstage with Ethan Page when Thea Hale said his name and he appeared. Yes, it's Joe Hendry. And let's just remember, Ethan beat Joe with the NXT title on the line. So maybe it could be good for Joe to get revenge on Ethan Page or just become a comedy character. Who knows? Two friends
Yeah,
stepped in. Who
get
knows?
your hopes up.
Two friends stepped in the ring to see who's better when Taven Heights took on Miles Bourne, the former the NQCC teammates, which again is quite funny that they're still around, but the NQCC hasn't really been much, you know. I know Vince Sinclair's trying their best, and they did their best out there. Josh Briggs joined the commentary halfway through, with Heights went out the ring to confront him. Bourne ended up taking both men down with a dive over the top, and ended up getting a pin with an inside cradle that surprised his opponent. Briggs pulled Heights out the ring and they fought into the aisle. And when Williams showed up out of nowhere and hit Bourne with a chair, he called out Ricky Saints, which brought out the champion for another brawl. They do love fucking brawling on NXT, didn't they? And then we see Dame accompany Paxley to ring for a title defense against Vice. They started with simple headlock takeover. Fatal Influence showed up and attacked Dame at ringside. Vice and Paxley put the fight aside as a group, surrounded the ring. Ref called for the bell when it broke down into a big fight. We knew said the match would end without a title change. Plan to get thrown out though after a couple of minutes was, I think, disappointing. You know, and then of course more brawl, brawl, brawl. This NXT should be called brawl, brawl, brawl because that's all they did really.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I've mentioned this in the past. I know that wrestling is just a show about people fighting each other, so brawls happen. But god dang, man, I feel like wrestling bookers or promoters at times just throw it at the wall. Like I don't have anything really to blow. I don't want. I want to protect this person or whatever. All right, let's just throw this at. I don't have a good way to get out of this segment, so make them fight.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Just like that. That'll always work. I'm not trying to act like it's not effective, but geez, man, I think we can find different ways to kind of accomplish our goal, or protecting people if that's the goal. But anyway, this like you said, always disappointing, man. I understand that both people are respected contenders, and you don't want to kind of just openly, I guess, show Lola Vice uh, at first. So Lola Vice, yeah, you're not really on this girl's level. You're just not a champion. No, you don't want to do that. But yeah, it's always disappointing when it kind of just turns into that. But I'm not really that surprised. I think become used to it at this point.
Yeah, without doubt. Blake Monroe will have a first defense in New York. Leon Slater has got X Division business, even though TNA has been shut down since Bound for Glory. So he's lying. You know, he's bunking off school, so to speak. I don't know where, where he's got. I know he's a 21-year-old lad, but TNA is not doing stuff. So where the fuck are you going, Leon? Like, what is going on? Speaking of TNA, the knockout start was on the line in the main event when Jordan Grace challenged Kalani Jordan. Jordan was connected with strikes while Jordan kept looking for ways to overpower. Jordan slipped while going for a finisher, and Jordan took advantage of the situation by planting Jordan for the 2 count. Williams and Saints ended up fighting in the aisle and got the ref distracted. Jordan considered using the title and the weapon on Jordan, but decided against it. But a few minutes later, Jordan did use the belt on Jordan to help her get the win anyway. So Hill, Kalani Jordan is back. For anybody who didn't know that, you know, you didn't catch up with the story. Kalani Jordan, yes, she used the title and she beat Jordan Grace. Is this a
I
good thing? I
mean,
guess Grace is a fucking loser. I'll put it out there.
I do agree there. They've done a good job of just hammering that point on that she cannot beat anybody. Doesn't matter what's going on. She is being used as a catalyst for everybody else to turn heel and everybody else to advance their characters, while she just shows up, look nice, wrestle well, but lose. That's pretty much where she's at. I'm glad I watched this match with the way you broke that down. By the way, if anybody did, they are still lost. I think it was genius the way you did it. The amount of Jordans that you just used, very genius. But since I watched this match, I wasn't lost. But I will say that Yeah, I mean, this would have been way more effective if they would have kept her innocent. If they didn't stop the initial heel turn that they tried to do with her. And but I do think this was cool. I love the facial expression. I don't know what happened. I don't know if she went to like the acting classes or like Mello or whoever it was had been talking to her or giving her tips on you know investment in the character. But like the way she looked after she did it, and like just you can kind of tell like, oh, okay, this wasn't just I did what I had to do to win type of thing. Like, oh no, uh, this is where I'm at. So even the whole working for Impact thing was, I guess, a sign that she was a bad person now. So you're bad if you work for Impact. Keep
You
that in
work for
mind.
the enemy. Yeah, you work for the enemy. But again, I'm glad it's not just not smiling and like a darker ring
Yeah,
attire now. That we are going to see a little journey for Kalani Jordan. Hopefully, Jordan Grace. I hope it doesn't end
absolutely.
with her winning the knockout start because again, it's still going back to before you
Honestly,
started, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
honestly, I don't want to predict any wins for Jordan Grace at this point. Like at this point, she's gonna just lose her way to the main roster.
mm,
That's what it feels like. She's
I know.
gonna lose her way upward.
I don't know. Trick and Rick went through some cardboard and they've made Last Man Standing in 2 weeks. And what a weird episode it was. Before the next NXT, we focus on AAA as TNA is still shut down. Ethan Page and Chelsea Green beat Mr. Iguana and Hidra from AAA for the mixed tag titles. This was a fun match and shows how good All Ego and Chelsea are. Seriously, Macadona, watch your back. Lola Vice joined commentary for the match, but was more interested in Mr. Iguana. The referee couldn't hold up both titles and kept dropping them at the start as well, which was like, you look like a pro production here. But again, Green and Page, it's no surprise. It works so well, and if there is mixed titles, tag titles available, then put it on them.
I mean, I don't know how you can find anything wrong with this as far as like that regard go. I think the chemistry is there. I thought, like you mentioned, that they look really good together, and they also look good in the match. And I just think again, you could trust them. Two pros, they're going to be able to run with it, whether it's on NXT or in future AAA shows, and like they're going to be able to do what they need to do to put others over, but also I do think get themselves over in the mix. And I think no one's better at that, by the way, almost probably in wrestling. No one's better, in my opinion, of just having no problem looking bad or looking or not coming out on top, but then somehow just ending up on top. You know what I mean? Like it just like that. That's
Yeah.
what Chelsea does. Like Chelsea is just an expert at that. And then, like I said, you add on what I mentioned about earlier, basically, of just being one of the best in the world in general with Ethan Page, and I'm talking about on the mic and in the ring. I think that they can do way more with them if they want. And I think
Yeah.
hopefully we're only scratching the surface. But I mean, even if they don't lean more into it, I'm grateful for what we've been getting.
Yeah, and again, not telling people to go and watch more stuff, but it is available on YouTube to go watch that match, and it might lead you down a rabbit hole of mixed tag madness as well. And Mr. Iguana was hilarious with Lola Vice because he was injured, but he was so happy Lola was paying him attention. November 4th, NXT. We're told about Green and Page, and we also see Thea Hale with the wheelie bin in the background. The first match was Fatal Influence versus Tatum, Paxley, Izzy Dame, and Lola Vice. Fatal Influence dominated the early minutes of the match. Paxley and Vice both spent a lot of time in the ring while opponents made quick tags to keep themselves fresh. Dame did not get involved until Paxley was about to be pinned, and JC got the pin on Dame after she saved Tatum. I forget women hate each other in NXT, even if they're in the same group. Just sometimes, I just like to see people get along.
I think the thing is that you either gotta hate each other or you gotta have like some type of obsession, career altering love story too.
Mm.
Like you either gotta go like Lyra slash Tatum to where it's like an obsessive love, and then you got the and then or you have what, man, they've been doing this a long time because even Thea Hale when she was with dealing with Jason, They hated each
Yeah.
other. It's just like they had a
Hmm.
little friendship, but then it turned into hate fast. It's just like, yeah, I just thought about that. Like, yeah, you're 100% right. We just that's what we breed in NXT so
It's
far. It's
just
just a lot of infighting, but they still hang out with each other until the penny drops predictably, or they're just stuck together for too long, and it's just a weird love story until one of them predictably turn on each other. Again, you know what?
Mm.
Yeah, I think I figured something out. Anyway, we can move on.
No, but the thing is, even the fatal influence thing, it's like even go back to toxic attraction. They weren't friends. Do you know what I mean?
No, they
Like they
didn't.
wanted. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
they
it's
didn't
not
get
worked for a
along.
long time.
So I mean, Roxanne and Cora J, like
Yeah,
I could go, we
everybody.
could go on forever. It really has always been this way. So yeah,
The Americano showed up in NXT. Locker room leader Josh Briggs stepped up. After the match, Americano ended up winning thanks to distraction of Tavian Heights and some interference from his fellow Grandes. Is this how far we've fallen in NXT? Kalani Jordan came to the ring for a promo. It was booed mercifully by the crowd. She questioned why the audience cheers for treated like Dom or Lola for going to AAA while booing her for doing the same thing they did. Knockouts champion was in non-title action when Jordan ended up having to face Tyra May Still after Ava booked the match. Still put up a good fight, but Jordan scored the victory. And we talked about Kalani Jordan, and I do wish she had just told the crowd to shut the fuck up and got an even bigger boo. Do you know what I mean? But I think
yeah,
that will come because she was like, I'm going to say the lines and I need to hit this promo. But it's like, no, let the crowd, and then you'll have that. You'll turn up the heat even more, so to speak. But she'll learn. She's getting there already.
yeah. I think that comes with experience, man. I think that comes when you fully engrossed in the role and dealing with that, that heat. And I think that, like you said, that can only come the more she does it. I do think this is a first good step. I don't think them cheering Dom. I do think cheering Dom is a great premise, but I think you gotta go a little bit further. You gotta keep going off that, in my opinion, to hammer the point home of just like call the crowd legitimate, like the call, not just calling them out on the hypocrisy, but really being annoyed and calling them hypocrites, and just straight up insults can work also better in the promo. But I do think the promo was excellent from her, at least from a delivery, because it's not so much about what she's saying for me. Because I think what she says is always probably going to be structured to an extent because of her limited experience in that realm. But I think what it used to be is, even as a babyface at time, that you just knew she was reading.
Mm.
And I think now, at least now, I am starting to see a little bit of her feeling like she's a part of it too. It's not like she's just reading off lines for what Kaylani is supposed to feel. It feels like she is starting to kind of lean into actually portraying those feelings on screen, and that's the big step for her, in my opinion. I do think everything else will come with more experience. So hopefully,
Yeah.
we're just getting started with this.
No, but like you said, it's even with the carrying cross stuff we had at the start of the year, or even giving someone like Mello and Mike now and using that experience, that frustration that you've got genuinely, and turning it
Yeah,
into, what I mean, that character and use it. All the best do it, don't they? They use that frustration and it comes out. Trick Williams and Ricky Saints had a split screen promo exchange. It's been sometimes done in interview format, but there was nobody asking questions this time. It was them talking trash while sitting in different rooms. They eventually got angry and went to find each other for a fight. And I thought Trick might have had the edge in these promos over Ricky. Maybe it's just my Trick bias, and I know Ricky's great on promo, but Trick has. We talked about just a second ago with Kalani Jordan. Trick's got that confidence running through his veins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's his strongest suit. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like we talked about Kaylani being a great athlete and like picking up in the ring maybe a lot faster than somebody like Trick was. But like I do think like that's the stuff you don't teach. The belief and the way it just sounds like no matter what Trick says, no matter how many times he loses or whatever it may be, he believes he is this guy, this character, this Trick Williams. And I do think that's going to come with more experience. But that's something, like you said, Trick has always kind of had. That's why you just kind of hope that everything else kind of fell into place for a guy like him, because he got the look and he always had the attitude. And I think you're probably right that they leaned that Trick kind of did a little bit better in these promos, mostly because I think again, I'm always say this, especially for somebody like Ricky. As long as Ricky is going to be confined to not to kind of not being able to go as far as a guy like Trick, he's never really going to truly beat Trick in that regard because I just think Trick off the cuff is really good. But I just think the freedom of being a heel, just like I know WWE,
Yeah.
the way they let you just talk as a heel is just so much more real and so much more relatable, easily to relate to, in my opinion, than what they want you to portray while you're talking in defense while still being a good guy. Again, I think Ricky's strong suit is that attitude, is being absolute, is being cocky. They both got the same strong suit, so unfortunately they can't lean into the same thing. So kind of that type of deal. But I do think my thing is with this is that after the brawl last week and after what we were going through, and because what we know we're heading towards, I don't mind it. I just didn't like the whole concept of letting them even do any more talking. Either you do another video package or you have Ricky wrestle a match as champion against
Mm.
someone else, and then let Trick come do commentary or something. Or even I just feel like after you brawl all show, why are we trying to sit down and act like there's anything else left to talk about? And that's the only thing
Yeah.
I can say about it.
And I'm loving it as well, couldn't it? And then the end they go, yeah, we haven't got anything to say. That's brawl. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Right, let's
well,
just go back to
yeah,
fighting.
all
It's
right,
just
yeah,
like,
all
yeah,
right,
it's
yeah.
like,
The
come
next
on
match was the
now.
women's speed bout with Zarya taking on Ren Sinclair. Kendall Gray accompanied Sinclair to the ring. After escaping armbars, Zarya was able to get the pin, so actually didn't fuck up. That's nice on this update. Shikon Sugars versus Javon Evans was next, with Evans rallying late in the match, hitting several signature moves before getting the win. He managed to escape for the rest of Dark State pounced. Use Javon like this. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's great
Yeah.
at. Then again, doesn't need to hang around. He's not stupid. Just get the fuck out of there. A clever face.
Yeah, this is really well done. And shout out to Saquon because these two guys got history on the Indies. I saw a lot of people really excited for this matchup because of their history. And I think you could tell in this match that they got a lot of chemistry. He has a really cool move set that I don't think we get a chance to even see a fraction of because of the limitations of being in dark state. So I haven't mentioned this before because again he's just kind of been I've been trying to give them time to give me something to latch on to with dark state, but I will say that's the guy. I don't know if I talked about it before, but if it's anybody that I feel like once this is over, this dark state thing and all of that. I think Saquon, I think the reason why he's in this match with Javon is because I'm not saying he's as good as Javon or as ready as Javon already seems to be, but Saquon Sugars definitely has that potential of being a guy that can also be a nice young superstar for them to lean on in the future because I've seen him work, and I think you saw a little bit of that in this match. Even though it was still just like a TV length match, but I thought you got a chance to see just a little bit of that flash of that talent in this, and I thought this was really good, like you mentioned. And yes, definitely, this is like the best use of Javon right now in his current state. And I thought at the end of the day, hopefully, other people who didn't know much about Spawn Shoes got a chance to see just a little bit more of what he could do.
Yeah, and again, not comparing Dark State to the Shield by any means necessary, but you might have a focal point. And I think Dion Lennox is maybe the guy they got their eyes on, but then someone like
Right.
Sugars can come through and, like you said, a man managed to break out from it. That's the whole point of a group. It should be anyway, not to just turn each
Exactly.
other, to actually make people care about you. And the show ended with Chelsea Green, Ethan Page holding a celebration for winning the AAA mixed tag titles. There was a cake in the ring that was obviously hiding someone ready to jump
Yep.
out. Joe Hendry showed up, and Thea Hale popped out the cake to attack him. She and Hendry took down Page and Green to end the show. Thea was dressed as Joe Hendry. There was lots of cake and all this. If
Nice.
this was anybody else, I'd shit all over it. But I like all four, so I was like, I got no problems. I should have, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you. I'm just let your bias talk because I. Oh my god. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna because I agree. I do like everybody here, but I'm gonna say this. My, dear hell. I was gonna say how far you've fallen, but she was like the little firecracker for Chase U. So I mean, she's basically been stuck. What does that tell you? Do you think you have high stocks for your career if you were a comedy act your entire run in NXT?
Uh, Well, I love the fact they went
Got a
Fee. You know,
little serious stretch to be proud of her, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Fee, you know you like wearing red tops. You're going to be wearing a blue shirt now. You see what I mean? She upgraded herself from to
Yeah.
go to a blue shirt for a red top. Yeah, I mean we'll speak about this feud a little bit more. On Impact, we had open fight night, which wasn't much. We did have a sit down with Kalani Jordan, who was a pure heel, and there was an hilarious moment, Monty, where Mike Santana, I think, faced someone, and Tom Hannafin on commentary, obviously doing the voiceover, was like, and he's so angry with this match, he's not come out with his TNA World title. And it's like, this was obviously filmed 6 months ago, but he's so angry. He's not brought that title out with him. I'm sure. I'm really sure. Um, I just don't know. And then
Thought about
November
it with
11th.
Kalani. Did being a TNA knockout turn her heel? She's like, oh
God
my god,
almighty.
so bad
Yeah,
here. I'm just going. She's angry now because she's a knockout now.
I have no
But,
idea what happened. And then the last episode of NXT, November 11th, the Culling kicked off NXT with Sean Spears, Nick Vance, Izzy Dame, and company Paxley to the ring for a promo. Vance and Spears stood back in the corner while Dame and Paxley grabbed the mics. Crowd chanted, "You deserved it." Dame said the Culling still wants what's best for Paxley and encouraged her to stop handing out title shots to everyone. Paxley says she wants to get an opportunity to give opportunity so nobody backstage feels like she did when she was grinding to get here. Fatal Influence showed up. Jason Jane could talk trash. Paxley agreed to give Jane a rematch NXT Gold Rush next week. And what is fucking weird about this is the exact same promo as we had to start off the update on the build up to Havoc. I've just realised it's basically the same thing.
hey, thank you. Yeah, yeah, the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
Well, there's nothing I can add to it. She's got the championship now rather than challenging for it, you know.
Yeah,
Speaking of titles, the men's speed championship was very finally. I don't really count the men's speed championship as a huge title, but it was on the line in a 5 minute match when Americano defended against Jasper Troy. The big man immediately put Grande in the corner and started beating on him. The crowd was in the masked man's corner. The referee stopped Americano for using the metal mask in his place, mask in his, and paved the way for Troy to hit the black hole slam with just seconds to spare to win the title. I was a little
yay.
bit surprised because I was like, is the Grande gimmick done now? If he's losing in NXT to Jasper Troy, have they given up? Or is it, what's
Well, I
going
heard,
on?
I heard, I heard they're still making money in Mexico, so I don't think they're giving up. Long as people buying it, something from it, they were running into the ground. You can ask Jey Uso about that. As long as they buying to you,
Mm.
they will work you to death. But uh, I don't know, man. Again, good for Jasper, I guess. I don't know what to think about the belt. I don't know what to think about what this even really means. Like it's an achievement, but like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he want you the champ, but like, man, like we're like, all right, cool, fine. Are we all excited for the Jasper Troy 5 minute matches? Because most likely that's probably where he's best suited at the moment, just having 5 minute matches.
Well,
Like
I think the thing
I don't
is,
know.
we were talking about, I think, in the last update, and it might be better to have someone like, try and survive 5 minutes with Troy as opposed to something like
Maybe,
that and
yeah,
try and make him, rather than giving like,
yeah,
you can't give a match in 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So it has to be kind of
right,
gimmick. And again, if they don't have him walking out with that title around his shoulders like the chains and have the chains gone, they're fucking making a mistake. You know,
yeah.
that's how we should carry the championship. I didn't think we are going to speak about Jasper Troy as much as we did today, but we'll move on to Joe Hendry, who was at ringside to support Thea Hale in a match against Alba Fire, who of course had Chelsea Green and Ethan Page in her corner. Hale had the match in hand when All Ego decided to get on the apron to provide a distraction. All hell broke loose and everyone started fighting at ringside. A brawl, really, on NXT. Hale was able to get the pin with a sunset flip during the chaos.
I
I mean,
didn't know
some
they
people
still
might
do
not
those.
like it. Yeah, no, some people are like, I'm happy with it. Thea gets a win, probably her first win in a couple of years as well, you know?
You might be bang on right there because I don't remember last the last time she won. Nice. I agree
Mm.
with you. This was I hate that this is where the former KLR, famous, every time I look at what Alba or Kaylee Ray is
I
now, it's just
know.
kind of It do kind of sucks in that regard because we just know how dominant she was. But I forgot we supposed to purge all that from our memory. You know why, Jay? That happened where NXT
Yeah,
UK. It never
yeah,
happened. It
NXT
never
doesn't exist.
happened.
No.
Yeah. So who cares what happened? That never happened. It never happened. So
No.
Gunther and Rhea Ripley, Pete Dunne, Dragunov, they all popped up out of nowhere.
I know
All of
it's
them.
crazy.
Man, I can't
So
believe it.
Ruka is cleared to face Blake at Gold Rush. Blake Monroe interviewed herself in a backstage segment when he shot side to side. It did pretty well to look like she was having a conversation with her darker self. But I want to speak to you about Soulfit because again, it seems a bit weird that she's cleared now to face Blake when it was only what 4 or 5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Again,
Yeah.
I still can't trust anybody, but it's just if they've done it for story, we shall see. You know.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what we gain. What do we get out of this for storyline purposes? I mean, I guess maybe you can kind of twist it and be like, I was. It was a test to see if can carry your weight. I guess, and you didn't. You lost. Blah blah. I don't know. Maybe you can work it out some type of way if it is a storyline. But like I said, maybe it was just a legit minor thing to where they just didn't feel like if they didn't want to risk making something
Mm.
worse and they just went with this. But I'm with you. It is kind of weird. And like I said, screw Seth Rollins. He's just kind of ruined wrestling injuries in that way,
I know.
unless you come back legitimately. I don't know what you got to do now because we can't even believe crutches anymore. Ain't that
I'm
something?
not gonna be shit. I ain't gonna be even if you send a picture of a fucking hospital bed, I'll be like, that's a fake fucking. Do you know what I mean? Like, no matter what they do, yeah, it's gonna be weird because the issue with that, and again, not to go into much detail, but when we have a serious injury, and God forbid, do you know what I mean? But the
Right,
fans will be like, well, what the fuck then? And then WWE have to
right.
be, oh no, this is real. This is not part of the show, kind of bullshit. Rather than, you know what I mean, treating the
Yeah,
fans with
it's
some respect, to
dangerous.
go like, bad things do happen sometimes. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
all entertainment. But then again, that's WWE shtick, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a dangerous rabbit hole. Dangerous rabbit hole.
mm. Javon Evans
Right.
came to the ring for a promo with Leon Slater on the screen because he's not able to be there in person or so we thought. I don't think Leon Slater's ever been on the video link because the way he was so excited, it's like he'd never. It's like, yeah, man, that's like sick. I can do that because I'm English, obviously with that accent. Dark State showed up to attack Slater. Showed up to attack, but Slater arrived and helped Evans get one over him, which again is nice because the faces seem clever over dark. So even I'm like, yeah, that means you're fucking not winning now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Well, good
Um,
luck, guy.
we'll see what happens. Skylar Ray
You
made
never
her
know.
NXT. Yeah, you don't know. Skylar Ray made her NXT debut following her win in LFG season 2. I only know this because they told me. Her first opponent was Fallon Henley, and this was a speed tournament match with a 3 minute time limit, which she lost. Tavian Heights faced Josh Briggs in what was billed as a grudge match. Heights
Whoa,
managed to
Josh
pull a
Briggs.
Heights managed to pull off a victory, but it's clearly not the end of the story. And then the main event was the last man standing match for the NXT title between Ricky Saints and Trick Williams. Trick tried using a kendo stick right away, but Saints managed to avoid his shots and steal it from him so he can load on it. The champ sent his challenger out of the ring and started grabbing weapons. Once Trick had the upper hand, he tied Saints up on the ropes and hit him in his injured ribs with a kendo stick repeatedly in a great spot. Despite being put through a wall, though, Ricky was still able to get the victory after spearing Trick through the announce table as they were among the crowd. I really
Insane.
did think that was a good bump. I thought how they were going to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And again, to hit that,
Trick
that was great.
apparently roughed himself up for real too for doing it. I think he hurt himself, cut himself or something. Legitimately doing it too. So yeah.
Unbelievable. So that was the end of the last man standing match. I'll leave the last thing. What were your thoughts on the match? Because again, you mentioned it, Havoc. Trick and Ricky, they kind of knew this match was coming, and I think this was the match we should have had then.
100. That's my only downside because I love this match. This match right here, I don't want to say like 5 stars, but I was over the moon watching this, man. This was fun. This was them both at their best. This is obviously, I think these type of matches. And if you think back to like the Pete Dunne Last Man Standing match, like Trick Williams kind of shines when he's allowed to not have to just be. And maybe WWE can take note of this. That Trick Williams seems to specialize in like a more of a free form fight feel. And I think even with the Dragunov matches, if you remember, maybe that's probably why some of the mellow matches didn't work the same because a lot of them were straight up matches, or I think they put them in a cage after that. But Trick seems to shine, in my opinion, when he's allowed to just fight. And I think even in this match with the match with Dragunov, I think back to how physical that was. I think back to the stuff with Pete Dunne, the Last Man Standing match. That was fun. And this match also was also just a Trick, in my opinion, at his best. And then Ricky also got a chance to showcase that toughness and that resilience that they love in WWE baby faces to show. And again, everything about it was just better. Like the intensity was better. It added it matched the fact that they couldn't stop fighting each other the last few weeks. Like this felt like two guys that couldn't stop fighting each other. Like me, like that other match. I mean, the other match kind of just felt like, all right, whatever. They talk like they don't like each other, but it just felt like just another match. And like I 100% agree. I think they knew that this was going to be a two match or like a multi match program, and they didn't want to go too far into what they could where both guys could go. They couldn't. They didn't want to go as far, and I think
Mm.
unfortunately that kind of. And again, I get it if you don't really got a lot of bag, in my opinion, to kind of dig in for a few of the match. But I do think it did that first match a disservice when we're talking about a world title match and we're talking about the most important championship and the stakes. It's really a bummer that you couldn't go as far as it felt like they needed to, because this match right here, I thought this was great, and I just think that honestly, if we could have got something, even a part of this for the PLE to lead up to this, would have been even better. But I do think at the end of the day, they gave us the best they could. They left it all out there, and I couldn't ask for much more from two guys who, in my opinion, showcase right here that Trick again. I don't think Trick needs much. I don't think it's much enough for Trick. I know I said. I feel like I've said this a billion times, but yeah, I don't think it's anything. I don't think Trick got anything left to prove. I think this is a perfect way. If you want this to be it for Trick Williams in NXT, I think this is a great way to send him off.
Mm.
And I think Ricky did a good job of legitimizing himself a little bit more with the way he looked in this match too.
Yeah, without a doubt. And like you said, with Trick Williams, the run then here, and what a run it has been. We
Yeah.
will miss you on the NXT updates. They really need to look at that wall. I think it's a hazard, Monty. I'm not going to lie. Like they need to put stronger materials behind it. But we should say as well, NXT ended with Ricky Saints celebrating and Oba Femi showing up to end the show
Wow.
and collect his fucking gold, man. I mean, how cool is Oba Femi? Even just a shadow of Oba. Do you know what I mean? Cast a shadow across the entire NXT. Um, so,
Yeah.
Monty, I'm going to get your thoughts on that. I'll get your thoughts on NXT this month. And obviously, we've got Gold Rush on the next two episodes of NXT, which we have on the next update, and Oba Femi returning. So, what are your thoughts, what we've seen, and obviously, what's upcoming as well?
Again, I thought this was some pretty solid stuff. I mean, again, like I kind of mentioned with Halloween Havoc that we were in a good place, and I thought it was a good show. But I think, where we are in NXT, we got a new women's champion. I really like having Tatum Paxley in this spot. The work Ethan Page and Chelsea Green are doing, when they show up. I do wish, like I mentioned earlier, that we were a little bit more organized in our presentation. And like I said, they're just asking the viewer to do a little bit too much, in my opinion, when it comes to. I don't think they're asking you to do it. I just think if you want to be as informed as you're going to be, like even the like you mentioned, the Skylar Ray debut and all of that. It's just people are coming out of the woodwork out of nowhere, and you just kind of got to keep up with what's going on and who these people are and why they're here and how are they here. Are they Impact? Is this a Triple A talent? Is this this? Is this that? Is this a regular NXT call up? Like what's going on? Sometimes can be a little bit confusing. And I do love that. Like I said, I love how the shows kind of come together in like a fever pitch. I always like that, but I don't think that helps when I don't know where everybody is coming from. Like sometimes it's just like, what the hell? Who is this? Who is that? Who's that? Like every other show, I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, okay, I heard that name before. What do I like? Who is this? Like, what do I? Why do I care about this? And I do think that sometimes can be a little bit off-putting if you're watching the show. Like I was watching someone with my wife who don't watch all the time, and it's just like she's asking me every other question in the world. I'm just like, I can only imagine what somebody who's casual, who don't
Mm.
catch NXT all the time, popping in, just like, let me see what NXT up to, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Who is that? And blah blah blah. So that I wish we kind of did a little bit better with. I do understand when you because of the Impact relationship, because of WWE's relationship with AAA, and they want it seems like they want NXT more so than the main roster to be a little bit reflective of those relationships, even like even more so than like anything else, and that's fine. But again, I do think it can be very confusing. But I think some of the weak spots are still the weak spots. I'm excited to see what Oba brings to the table. I'm not sure if this is going to just set up another Ricky rematch. Is he going to get back his championship? Does like how much look? Like I mentioned with Trick, I kind of said this if this was it for Oba when he lost his belt. Oba don't really have much left to prove. So what are we going to do? What's going to be different? What reason do we have to have Oba here? Is this just a program with Ricky on his way out? Is it I'm really excited to see. Are we going to get a gold rush match? Title match the second week now because they do have enough time maybe to set that up if they want. I don't know. I'm excited though to see what happens in that regard. But I do think overall we have some good. We're in a good place in NXT, but I do think we still have the same. We do also still have the same like glaring issue, like we mentioned in the tag division, and just like the consistency throughout the male side of the roster. And but we got a lot going on in NXT in general, and that can be a good thing sometimes, but it also can be a very confusing thing.
Yeah, and again, it's a little bit of space that we're going to have because of the gold rush. I mean, deadline probably won't be until the update after, maybe, but at least NXT have given themselves like a month to actually kind of build it up, and we know really on Survivors as well what would be interesting. But yeah, like I said with Obafemi as well, if Obafemi turns heel, all bets are fucking off. That's all I'm. That's all I am saying. And that is it for NXT. But we had Impact. It was back with a live show. Now we're not going to cover Victory Road because they gave themselves 24 hours to build up the show. So if they're going to do that, I'm going to give it another update, I suppose. But we did have a live Impact. Ava was there to confirm the partnership. Ariana Grace is the liaison again. But TNA champion Mike Santana had a rough night. Robert Stone, Lexis King, Shannon Stacks Lorenzo, Brooks Jensen, Charlie Dempsey, and High Rise, who I weren't even sure were in NXT anymore, attacked him. Robert Stone stomped a steel chair onto the arm of Santana, and then Frankie Kazarian called his shot on an injured Mike and is your new TNA champion. That's right. So the first appearance from Mike Santana as TNA World Champion since he won at Bound for Glory. Let's remember, TNA took 4 weeks off. He lost the championship. Monty, I mean, you told me the news. What the fuck is going on?
I mean, I was baffled, man, and when I got the context of how it was accomplished, I think they wanted me to feel a little bit better about it, but I still was like, it's just like, no, like no, like no, that's still stupid. I don't care if he got attacked by random NXT people or like he was still. I don't care if he's still protected in the loss. Like it's still an unnecessary, frustrating way to book your new champion, your new possible face of the company, a guy who it felt like after he finally got the belt back for Impact, felt like we were putting all the money on there. And I get it. Sometimes, especially as baby faces, the chase can be more compelling. Putting him back on the chase doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I understand that, but I don't know, man. To me, it's just very not concerning, but it just felt very one of those things I say all the time when we talk about impact. Sometimes it's just like that's very impact, a very impact way for them to treat a guy who just, in my opinion, has the potential to lead them into a new era of the company. Uh, and like again, I thought that they were smart enough to realize that he was money and that it was time to put him in that position. But again, I'm not gonna over I'm not gonna try to I'm not gonna over react per se because like I said with the other details I obviously think something is at play here because of how it was done. I just still don't like it. I don't like the PR. I just feel like Impact is in such a was in such a good place and like has such have so much stuff going in their favor. I don't know why they continue to try to lean into the fact that, oh no, we're Impact. We like to make things as hard as possible on ourselves, or screw
Mm.
screw things up in a way that don't necessarily have to be. Is it a narrative, an interesting narrative that can be spun here or explained away? I'm sure something can be taken away from this position or this spot. But either way it go, I just feel like it's unnecessary and I don't really like it. And I think the way it was done kind of make it more. If you tease it maybe for a month or maybe not even tease it, if you let him be on TV, defend his title maybe a little bit, or at least, like you said, appear on the show as champion, and then it happens, maybe a couple of tapings in, and it's just like a shock thing. All right, cool. But like you said, to barely even present him as champion, to have it go that way, initially, and then right after it on the next TV taping or whatever, or next Impact, we want to try to make it seem like, he potentially no showing the event, and it's just like,
Mm.
why do you want that to be? Why is that? Who wants the headline to be our world champion is no showing, our former world champion or face of the company is no showing this event, and they're literally trying to get pundits out there to lie about it and say that he's really not there when in reality is like apparently a work or whatever. Like, how much sense did that make? Who only Impact? That's good PR. That's good, and I get it. Some people believe as long as maybe Impact is to that point, was like, as long as they're talking about us, it's good. But Impact is rarely ever consistently in a good light, and I just don't understand we why Impact continues to try to put themselves in those situations. If you know what I mean, I don't get it.
No, it's like, you take a friend, you take him to a party where, and he has trouble drinking, you know what I mean, or he calls a
Yeah,
bit, and you think, yeah, he's not gonna cause that much trouble around here, and then you look around, he's taking a shit in the corner. That's basically what TNA is doing. Like again, to have their biggest show, what they're calling it, in their history, and then have 4 weeks cooling off period. Is incredibly stupid, in my opinion.
yeah,
Even TNA wrestlers were questioning. Moose was questioning it, and he's got told by Carlos Silva that no, there's a plan. What plan that was, I don't know. Again, I can understand Mike as chasing the title, but again, you wouldn't have someone lose the night after WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean?
right.
And if you'd have the story continue, and again, people complain if it happened at Slammiversary. If Mike had won at Slammiversary, then he could have actually had a run now. Um, and
Yes,
and,
and
and
that's what makes it even more baffling. Like if you just did it when
yeah.
you were supposed to do it, then this Kazarian doing it when he did would make a little bit more sense. But now it's just again, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
I don't
they're
know,
not
man.
not striking when the iron's hot. When they do have something, they seem to fuck it up as well. Do you know what I mean? Even with the Joe Hendry title feud, I know with Joe Hendry there was WWE and stuff like that here, and that's what's crazy about the rumors of like, well, Santana's going to leave TNA, and it's like, no, I think this was their plan. Like, you know what I mean? And like you said, now Santana's going to be like an NXT hunter, but it's the worst wrestlers in NXT apart from Charlie Dempsey. Do you know what I mean?
And
Like,
that's oh my gosh, like that's another thing. Like, all right, if Trick or like you telling me we
yeah,
got some,
yeah,
whatever, whoever you want to list there, and I understand the NXT's men's roster at this point is like again, it's not their strong suit. So that show you right there that it's probably not the best idea because you only got a select few of guys that it would actually be convincing, in my opinion, for or that it would actually look good for him to do this. But yes, exactly. You literally got people looking at the clip of him getting attacked, and they're just highlighting how is that. Oh, the only guy I recognize there is William Regal's son and
yeah.
Ben Pillman. I think it's just like, oh my god, like you got people notably pointing out that, like you said, that these are not even the top class of NXT. So not only is it developmental still, owning your champion, it's not like you said, it's not even the best of developmental of WWE. So it
Yeah.
just looked bad altogether, man.
And it's a shame because, Frankie Kazarian, say what you will, become a Grand Slam champion, TNA,
Ooh,
the career he had,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It should have been a moment of like, oh, look, one of the TNA originals has won a champion, but instead it was, oh, TNA have done it again,
There you go.
which is,
Exactly.
which is crazy, you know. And again, they could go into more about the booking of the knockouts division and everything else in
Yeah.
between. But you know, like you
Yeah.
said, TNA has become an extension of NXT now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, you know, as they build up, I guess, to the next special with hopefully more than a day build, you know. But that's it, you know. We talk about TNA, talk about NXT, but we'll leave it for now. Don't forget, we're across all social media, X at the Double R Podcast. I'm at the Double R Pod James. You can find the entire Double R team on the banner. Monty, where can people find and follow you?
At House of Torture, at Monty Pod.
Double R also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at podcast at gmail.com. And YouTube, the Double R podcast, will be celebrating 10 years of the Double R with shorts, universe mode, and clips from any event we go to. And of course, the podcast is live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, and Monty, you'll be happy about this. It is the New Japan catch up. So finally, you'll be with your House of Torture members.
Yes. Not only in spirit, I will actually be there. I'm traveling back to the House of Torture just for that show. So I'll
Yeah.
let you know. I might have travel issues.
We'll see what happens. Well, until then, I've been James Reynolds. I was joined by the mind of Monty. Monty, thank you for joining me again for another NXT update.
No problem.
Well, that's it. He used to, you know, back in the day, Monty used to be like, "Oh no, it's a pleasure to be here." Now he just wants to get out and get done. I appreciate that. You know, I understand. I know what it's like. But that is it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.